What's going on, everybody? Joining me today is an inspiring mother-daughter duo who is making waves in the cannabis industry. We have Adina, CEO and co-founder of Talaria, and her daughter Sasha, who plays a key role in the company's operations, branding, and innovations. Adina is a trailblazer in the cannabis space, previously co-owning Terp, one of Pennsylvania's first women-owned dispensaries. Now she leads Talaria Co., a family-run cannabis cultivation business in Providence, Rhode Island, with a mission to provide clean, high-quality medicine to the patients. Together, they combine Adina's leadership and experience with Sasha's fresh perspective, proving that family and business can not only mix, but it can thrive. This is Terp Trends. Let's dive in.
In the top 10, and our grow has never looked better. And we have, some really amazing strains and a couple that are really, truly medicinal strains. So we love that.
Yeah,
And we have
good.
an amazing staff, and
Yeah. Oh,
I get
that's
to
good.
control everything.
Which
And
has
I
to
love
feel great.
that.
Yes, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do, which is good. Sweet. So before we dig into the current events, it's always good to give people kind of a background image of who we have on the cast now. So right now we do have Adina and Sasha joining us. They're currently with Talaria. Am I saying that right?
Hey.
Talaria Co.
Yep.
You're right. Yep. Perfect. And Adina, you want to give us just a little bit of a background on yourself?
Sure. So, Talaria is a small Class A cultivation facility in Rhode Island. We're located in Providence, and we sell to all of the Rhode Island dispensaries. We specialize in hand-trimmed beautiful bud and pre-rolls. We also do some CO2 carts and are working on an edible line right now. And my background entrepreneurially lately.
Yeah,
uh,
perfect.
right. I guess I started my own business on Dead Tour in 1983 or 4, traveling around, seeing shows. We bought 10 blankets from a guy in Mexico, and the woven blankets, and sold them out of our trunk, and then started following the dead around with a VW bus full of bajas and blankets and things from Mexico, some jewelry, and did that for a while, and then opened some inline stores. We had a wholesale business from Thailand and that kind of thing. So I would say we were always in the cannabis culture. And then when Pennsylvania decided that they were going to go legal, we were really, really excited. Turned 61 this year.
Wow.
And I never thought that I would see this come to fruition. So it's
Woohoo!
really just so exciting to be in the industry. So we
Oh
teamed
yeah.
up with a bunch of partners and opened a few dispensaries in Pennsylvania. I took a buyout from there and then came to Rhode Island to do a real small family grow where we could focus on beautiful flowers.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm
That's
Sasha.
amazing.
I'm Adina's
Yeah.
daughter. And I have always kind of worked with and around my family. I worked in their retail stores since I was 14. So I took not even a hiatus because I would always come back and work in the summers and over winter break. But I went to college for civil and environmental engineering and then found myself back with my family, in the middle of a pandemic, and really fell in love with the grow. And there's a lot of overlap that I've found in project management and just
Yeah.
having a brand and being a modern brand of anything takes a lot of work.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's where I've come in.
Having such entrepreneur parents, did that kind of push you into developing a career choice? What was that like growing up with? Because you have these parents that are very open to other things that maybe other kids you're growing up with aren't. So I'm sure there are some things you kind of had to, you know,
I
figure
was
out,
strict.
navigate growing up. Yeah, yeah, okay, okay, good, good.
I feel I am so lucky to have gone to some really great schools in Philadelphia. Like, so I was around people that had even more opportunity than I did. So
Yeah.
saying that is kind of like feels a little funny, but we really do have a lot of opportunities. And one of my favorite parts of that was getting to travel all over the world,
Oh, for
especially
sure.
Thailand, and just like seeing different cultures and how different cultures, treat different things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be really cool, and thankful that you, you pushed your kids to see it and you took them along with it. My parents kinda pushed me to travel too, and they let me see different parts of the world. I feel like that's just really important with growing up too, to kinda shape how you deal with how you, picture other people, what they're going through, relate to them in other ways, is definitely to see what's going on in other aspects of our world. So that's really cool. That's cool. Good for you guys. So from PA, were you you guys are East Coast natives,
Yeah, we're
Adina?
Philly girls.
Okay, okay, and then so that's what led to the whole Pennsylvania venture. What led
Right.
to Rhode Island? 'Cause that's where you guys are now, like Providence, Rhode
Yeah,
Island
so
side.
after we took the buyout, we were spending some time with a friend in Newport and just kind of taking, a break. But after the experience at Terra Vita
Yeah,
and just seeing you were there in the very beginning, just the number of patients that we saw, the kinds of, um, every day you would see patients who were like reducing their number of opiate pills they were taking and transforming that into cannabis use, which is so much safer.
yeah.
We had that one, a couple of kids with autism or epilepsy that we were treating during that time. And, I, I had some friends with kids with autism, and it just really, I just really hope in this world that we're going towards like whole plant medicine in general, and that this was like an opportunity to really see it in action. And once I did, I knew that that's what I would continue to do. So I was just looking for an opportunity, and it happened that in Rhode Island there was a bunch of grow licenses that hadn't gotten really off the ground, that people were selling for not that much money.
Oh,
So we picked
cool.
those up and partnered with Brent Van Ziel and started our little grow, which was like really like one room with,
Yeah,
Sasha was there from the beginning. I mean,
not
we
quite
had,
from the very beginning,
yeah,
but
almost though.
almost.
Yeah. Like, it was nothing. And then we
Yeah.
purpose built, a few more rooms and,
Do you
Yeah, it was really,
find do you find
really
that to be
exciting.
like common in cannabis now that people are buying these licenses and holding on to them? Like, do you think it's because of the funding that they don't have it, or are they holding on to sell it at a later date? Do you know?
I think it's just so state by state because of the way that the cannabis industry is. Like, so in
Hmm.
Pennsylvania, it was this big, you know, license application process. In Rhode Island, we were one of the first states to have home grows for patients.
Nice.
And then they started doing cooperative grows. And then
I
they
gotcha.
opened a few dispensaries that could grow, but they couldn't keep up with the demand for the patients. So then they started buying from the cooperative grows, and there was no, like, it was the Wild
Oh,
West. I mean,
wow.
literally, people were getting like, you know,
You had like your medical card and you could grow 12 plants per person that you were taking care of, and they were selling like tens of pounds at a time to these dispensaries.
yeah, like
Oh,
hundreds
wow.
at a time to these dispensaries. And they said, we got to get like a hold on this. So they said, we're
Yeah.
going to license these people. So,
Oh,
and
okay.
the home grows so that we can like get some testing done and that kind of stuff. It was completely crazy. So they just like opened the license period and let anybody that wanted to kind of apply. And then you know, they never kind of got them all up and running. So there were these people that kind of had an approved license but never got it up and running. And that's what happened in this state. But every state is different. You look at, Maine or Vermont, we're kind of like in between, where we're not like Maine or Vermont, but we're not like Massachusetts or Connecticut either. So the growers that are here, I think, are some of the best in the country. We're mostly legacy growers, and we're really
Wow.
small. So, like, our facilities are, the biggest facility we have here is 10,000 square feet. And that includes all of your processing rooms as well. So it's not just your flower rooms. So we're
Okay.
really, really small. We
Yeah.
operate in about 3 to 4,000 square feet. We have a 5,000 square foot license, and we're really small. We hand water a lot. If there's a plant that needs a little extra love, we're giving it to them. Like, we can do all of that stuff, and it's really like everything is hand trimmed. Like, it is beautiful, beautiful flower that we grow.
Oh, that's cool. And I think that gives it more of a like a family sense too. Do you think that's kind of more beneficial to the community that they allowed it to be that way rather than like mass controlled or a heavier
Well, that's
ticket?
the good part about it. The bad part is we only have 7 dispensaries who sell,
Oh,
right?
wow. And how
So
big is your area, like your community, Providence, Rhode Island?
So Rhode Island in general is about as big as Philadelphia in terms of
Okay.
population. It's like 1.2, probably a little bit more now, but like 1.2 million people total in the state. And as
we're
you
the
know,
smallest state.
since it's still federally
Gotcha.
illegal, we can't cross state lines. So that's all of the audience that we have. Um, and like we said, there are only those 7 dispensaries, and they're not very close together. It's definitely not accessible for the whole state yet. We would really love to see some more dispensaries so that everybody can get
Yeah.
access to this whole product.
So they passed laws about 3 years ago to open an additional 24 dispensaries, which would really help the small business growers. But the dispensaries, like we have Rise here, um, and the other dispensaries are like the number one dispensaries in the state because there's only 7 of
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of
them.
hard to. So you guys are operating as a grow, but and then do you have to go to the dispensary to get your
Yeah,
products, or
we
can
have
you do like a caregiver type deal as well?
no, we have
No.
to sell
Okay.
directly to dispensaries
To
only.
sell directly to the dispensaries at that point.
Hmm.
Wow. And is your local one close?
They're all half an hour away
I mean,
Yeah.
Rhode
max.
Island is like you can get anywhere in an hour.
I gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So it's not too
Yeah,
bad then.
it's not like
That's not too.
Pennsylvania where
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
10
And then
hours.
are you limited to all the dispensaries that you can distribute to, or can it go to any dispensary chain?
Any of the 7.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. That's sweet. Because I know here
Yeah.
in PA, like certain stores will only carry certain brands still, or whatever all that is. I don't know. Where you'll get different deals at different stores, which I think is kind of wild. It's just, it's crazy to hear how each state is just so different, and how they
Yeah, I think
operate.
a lot of the bigger dispensaries hone in on the brands that
Thanks.
they really want to, that really have a brand, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they are starting here to like reduce the number of brands that they carry in their dispensary. But then what they're doing is they're really buying very inexpensive bulk product from the
Mhm.
dispensaries that
From the
haven't
grows.
from the grows, from the cultivations that really haven't formed a brand. And they're
Yeah.
even suffering more than
And then those
us who
dispensaries
have a brand.
like the dispensaries have the ability to package product that they buy in
Okay.
bulk, their own
Yeah.
like brand
So they can
packaging.
like
So you'll
white
see
label it.
exactly. So they'll buy some
I gotcha.
really expensive bulk product from cultivators that don't have as established as a brand and white label it.
Okay. Okay. That's so interesting. How's the testing in Rhode Island? Do you guys still have to go through vigorous testing and
Strict.
everything, or?
Very, very strict. We have some of the
Yeah.
strictest testing regulations in the US.
So we test
Yeah.
every 10 pounds
Okay.
of
By
product.
random selection, the testing lab has to come to you
Yeah.
and take
Okay.
they take like an ounce almost, half an
It's
ounce for
ridiculous.
every 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we test for everything, pesticides, yeast and mold,
Yeah. And then do they only test in the flowering stage?
heavy metals, huh?
So we test pretty much everything in its final form. There's a little bit of wiggle room there with like ground material for pre rolls. They let you test like a bulk batch of ground material and then put it in different pre roll size cones.
Yeah.
If you're doing any like infused pre roll, they need to test the whole thing. You test flour at like when it's ready to be packaged.
Nice. Nice. I'm a supporter of testing. I know it's a hassle and it's, a pain. Um, but there's just some bad product out that shouldn't be on shelves that probably should have more testing. So it stinks that we have to do that. I hope more people take better practices in their gardens where it's not as big of a hassle.
One of the great things about the cannabis industry and why it's so exciting is because it's so new and we're all learning as we kind of go along. But there's definitely, I would like to see more, um, like across the board, the same tests being done with the same machines that are doing it in all the different states, because I think you get such variability from
Yeah.
state to state.
Oh yeah.
We have to pass yeast and mold 10,000
CFUs.
CFUs, which is really low. Most states are 100,000. And
Yeah.
then, a lot of people remediate their product.
Hmm.
So that's a whole different story and a whole
Oh
You know,
yeah.
different
we
thing.
definitely are a proponent of people getting clean medicine and clean, like access to clean cannabis. That's one of like our taglines, and we keep a really clean facility and do absolutely everything we can to make sure that what we're putting onto the market is like safe
The
and clean.
highest
Yeah,
quality and the safest and
Yeah.
the cleanest. And I do think testing is really important. I guess where I like question some of it is like those THC numbers and just,
Yes.
how
Yes.
much focus is put on THC numbers. And, we really have to, like, we've gotten rid of a bunch of strains that we love because they just don't test high enough for the market right now. So everybody's chasing
Yeah.
that THC number. That's what we're all growing for. That's what we're all doing. And there's a couple of strains that we'll never get rid of because they help people so much.
Yeah.
But definitely we have, you know,
and it's expensive.
yeah,
Here, it's like
Yeah.
$550 every 10 pounds
every 10
Yeah.
pounds
or
it's,
less.
and that
Like
gets passed
sometimes,
on to the consumer.
yeah, sometimes we only have like 3 pounds, and sometimes it's like, oh, is this even worth testing? Like, we would love to get this
Wow.
out, but is it? Are we going to make any money on it? We have to spend that money on testing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's definitely hard to wiggle in all of the extra finances that come along the way that I think the consumers they're not quite aware of, you
Yep.
know, on how it all works, which then throws shade onto the grower processors and pricing and how all that gets wiggled into the price, which
Yeah.
hopefully eventually all that will just calm down once everybody starts making more money, you know,
Yeah, and
state
we're like,
wise.
I would love to see, how the reschedulization process is going to work on a federal level, and if that will, reduce the tax burden on the dispensaries. I would hope that that would make it less expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that's the whole point with it. We should make it all accessible to everybody. And I think the hardest part with people is just the financial standpoint of cannabis sometimes. And we
Absolutely.
saw it in PA, with all these people trying to get off of things that they can collect, like insurance is helping them and stuff like that. And then they're coming to
Yep.
us where we can't give them backing. And I had to convince them on why they should spend $50 on a half gram of hash, when it's like, dude, it's killing me. It killed me as a bud tender to just say it to
Yep.
people, and feel what they're going through and not have any control of it other than like, I'm really sorry, man, but hopefully this you're in the right step. I'm glad I'm here to help you with that, but it stinks that our hands are tied financially right now, which is the burden
Yeah.
that then you face as a brand, because then that throws, just bad reviews and stuff like that, which is brutal,
And I would say
So
like that price component is a reason why we're big supporters of home grow. Like, it is
yeah.
a way that some patients can get access to the medicine that they need.
Yeah. Yeah, which I think is great. With
And
all the crazy
education. Sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say education on how to make your own edibles and things like that as well is just really important to bring down those costs for patients that really need a lot of THC to control pain and help sleep and deal with PTSD and all of those kinds of things. So,
Yeah. No, it's definitely super important. And it's cool that you have just that overall view of it, just the morals that your family come from. It's good to have that staple to someone that, you guys are people someone can go to and learn these things and how to combat what they're dealing with. Which I think is great that what you're doing on a whole family level too. Love to see it. Very cool.
Sasha and I spend a lot of time going from dispensary to dispensary, just spending the day there, running a little special, but also talking to people, talking about terpenes, talking about, you know, what a test result looks like,
Yeah.
talking about what, you know, how to find what's right for them, and I've always just really felt like whether you're, a cannabis patient, you're going to use cannabis sometimes recreationally. And if you're using cannabis recreationally, you're going to find yourself using it medicinally,
Yeah.
and that's just, it's the beauty of this amazing plant that's been like locked down for so many years. And it is really incredible to watch the industry bloom. And I just hope that, and I believe that it will be, in the end, kind of similar to the craft brewing market, where you'll
Yeah.
have like big Budweisers who are like getting out that, like, you know, whatever product, and then you'll have those
Hmm.
craft brewers that really, like,
Small
can
cultivators.
specialize
Yeah.
in certain things, so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, fingers crossed. So how did your wild experiences with the years at Terra Vita influence your beautiful vision for Talaria? Because I'm sure there is a lot of learning lessons along the way.
Um, I think mostly for me, it was that I didn't wanna be involved in a high stress, big business kind of, you don't respect your employees environment.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be in an environment where, like, you work together as a team to, like, get to the same goal.
Yeah.
When I went to Terra Vita, I gave over most of the company that we had built as a family over to the people that were working there for years.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just what I believe, you know, in life is what you do. You treat everybody with respect, and I just needed to be back in an environment where I could control
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you made it back. It was definitely
that.
sad not to have you there towards my end of my transition out of there, but I'm happy to see you in such a blooming, better environment for you
Well, you
guys
have
to
to
do
come
what I think
see.
you wanted to. I know. I've been talking to you for a while now. I need to. Now that I'm
I
more
know.
like rooted down again and not all like over the place, I feel like I have more opportunities to like actually connect with people again and go see them and hang out for a minute, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, Rhode Island's beautiful. It's like a hidden gem. Really
Yeah.
is. It's gorgeous here.
What do you think's been a huge hurdle dealing with all of this, especially now working with a grow? Because Terravita wasn't a grow; it was just a dispensary. So now you're in a grow. You're working with these plants and dealing with all of that. How's that been on a family level too? Because now you're working together. So I'm sure there's definitely some things that happen behind the scenes. How do you guys navigate all of that with the garden?
Well, we had no grow experience. So at
Nice,
first we were really relying on our business partner and the growers that he brought in.
nice.
And we definitely went through some periods of time where we were like chasing this issue and then chasing that issue. Luckily, knock wood, we, haven't had like major bugs or anything like that. But just
Yeah,
in terms of like getting airflow right and getting the nutrients right and doing, getting it to a place where you have like reliably successful plants every single time you harvest, and that everything is really, really beautiful. And, in the last, I would say, like, it took us a while, like a few years to really get to the point where we were like just in awe every time we like grow,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh my God, look at this, like, smell this. It's just like everything is just really like nailed down as to like when the plants need this, what they need, what's going on with them, and all of that. And it's just so fun
Yeah.
to watch. And they are just incredible plants. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely like it took us a while, partly because we're so small. We only have a harvest once a month, and as you know, like it's like over 100 days from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
like to make little changes every time, because you don't want to change everything. We've tried changing everything, that didn't work. So then we went to like smaller incremental changes, and it really feels like we're on the right track now. We've really gotten a schedule worked out
Yep.
for what needs to happen every day and for the strains we have.
Oh,
And,
that's cool.
we always made the decision that everything we put into our eighth jars was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, no matter when you bought our product all along the way, it was always really, really beautiful bud. But we definitely had those harvests where we had more pre rolls than we knew what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah. That
But
happens to everybody.
now we have a lot of bud, which is really, really
But
nice.
it was definitely interesting coming from the dispensary side to the grow side,
Yeah.
because at the dispensaries you really see how people are buying. They're buying based off of like indica sativa and THC results. So like that's
Yes.
part of what we focus on here, because we are a business. We need to make money. So we focus on how people are buying.
Yeah.
Um, and there are mysteries that I thought I would solve in the grow side that are still mysteries to me.
Yeah. Oh,
Like
I
it,
feel like every grow will create either a new mystery or a new like I've every plant that I've ever come in touch with, it's just like how are you so different but yet so similar to things, and how like the characteristics, the phenos, everything that you're gonna see, it's literally each plant is so different, and that's
exactly.
what's so remarkable about each experience you're gonna have growing them, is because you're gonna have different bud structures,
Yep.
different resin structures, and it's cool on a scientific level to like see it, because now you can get your hands in it, you can see it all, and it gives you a really good understanding of what goes into the how to deal with the customer.
Yeah, we've
That's
been on
sweet.
a new strain tear
Journey.
journey.
Wow.
Our business partner has been doing a lot of uh,
Breeding.
like yeah, breeding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've been the beneficiary of a lot of his
Testing.
breeding
Yeah.
things. So a lot of our
R&D.
beautiful plants that we've been growing for a while are now like crossed with each other, checking them out. And
That's so
it
cool.
takes a long time to get them into production, but we're at the point now where we've been doing it for a couple of years and they're finally like really getting into production, and it's been so fun, but it is a journey,
Oh
especially
yeah.
with a small grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. But I've been seeing you've been killing it on social media. I definitely enjoy all the posts you do. Sasha, I feel like you're more behind that end of the things.
I was the social media person for the first probably 2 years of Talaria, and I really focused more on posting pictures of the grow. But
Yeah.
since then, we've hired Bethany Godet, and she just does an incredible job at highlighting our brand and the vibe that we put out. And I think that's so important, and it's important to be like a person as part of a brand, because I know I personally want to support people over companies. So just to like
Yeah.
personalize us and make sure that people can see that it's we're a small local business, and that's who you're supporting.
And what are the restrictions over there with like community outreach or like setting stuff up? Like PA is pretty strict. You can't really do a lot with the community, do the DOH and all that. What's it like over there? Are you guys able to have more fun with people?
Yes and no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so while we were a medical market, we were absolutely not allowed to do any kind of advertising whatsoever. And
Yeah.
then once we became
Advertising, outreach, education, anything.
nothing. Like we couldn't like go to a street fair.
Which is
Um,
weird because you can turn your TV on and have a pharmaceutical commercial right there, and that's like I don't
yeah,
get it, you know?
so crazy.
Well, I
Yeah,
think,
but keep
you know,
going.
part of
Sorry.
it in Rhode Island was that we were one of the first states to be medical, and so it was, you know, it was still under threat of like, are the feds going to shut this down?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
now though we are allowed to advertise, we're allowed to like be in the public. We,
that's
there's like
cool.
social consumption spaces. They're not
Really?
licensed, not shutting them down. So it's nice to be able to like go and smoke and,
Yeah.
hang out together, have a dab bar there,
Oh,
that kind of
wow.
thing. Yeah, that
Yeah,
kind of
like
thing is definitely
the
happening in
true community involvement. That's like what you really need. And that's how you get the best feedback. And people can, it adds to that family aspect of bringing us back together,
I think the
with this
people that
plant.
want that are definitely a certain section of the cannabis consumer.
Hmm.
Um, like, but when you're in a dispensary, like you see everybody. You see
Yeah.
people from 21 to 91
Oh
in the
yeah.
dispensary. You see people that are wealthy and like dripping in jewels and people that
Hmm.
are, obviously struggling. Like,
Yep. Paying for a pre-roll and change,
yep,
Yeah.
like
exactly.
and that's what's crazy. And there's a guy that I interviewed earlier, his name's Terrence, and he opened up a chain in DC, and he hit me with a quote that cannabis has no face. And the more and more I think about it, I was just like, yeah, this is one thing that's so universal that all aspects of life will indulge in, and yet it's the most controlled and restricted thing we have, and I just don't get it. you know it's wild.
Yeah, but it's here and it's legal and,
I know. It's getting
we're
there.
learning about it and people are studying it and, like, it's
Yeah,
happening, you know?
it
It
is
definitely
happening.
feels different in an adult use market, like a mature adult use market, than it felt in Pennsylvania, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Pennsylvania, we still have the clouds here. It's like people are still scared to even talk about it, and it's still so
yep.
conservative with it. It blows my mind. Even like I haven't been here for 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and now I'm back, and we have all these new brands and everything, and the social media side of it's really big. But people are still scared to openly indulge or put out there that they're using or any that
Yep.
they're even a medical patient. And I'm like, you shouldn't live in that type of fear over a plant.
It
Yeah.
is tough working within the rules of social media
Yeah.
Yeah.
because, it's definitely still flagged more often, and we find ourselves not being shown on other people's feeds and harder to find, like no matter how careful we are and how much we want to follow
Shadow
every
banning
social
is
media's
real.
rules.
Oh
Like
yeah.
we no matter what we do, we get pushback.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, it is tough. What's the future looking like for Talaria here? You guys have any events you're doing or anything like that?
Oh, always. We always have
Yeah.
events. We've got one tomorrow. We're going to be at Sweet Spot Dispensary down in Exeter. If you buy any Talaria product, you can get a free half-gram pre-roll from us.
Woo!
For Black Friday, we'll be at Solar
Solar.
over in Warwick. We've got lots of deals there.
Yeah, a ton of
Friday
deals
the
happening.
13th, we're at Mother Earth doing a little Christmas shindig with them.
We're gonna go hang in Vegas for a little bit and see MJ BizCon. Haven't been there since I was at Terra Vita, so that'll be
That's
fun.
awesome. Nice. That's exciting. That's
Yeah.
exciting. How can people all your social medias, how can people follow you? How do we stay in touch with you guys?
Yeah, you can either find us on our website at talariaco.com or on Instagram and Facebook at talariacori.
Sweet.
TALARIACORI.